Hey everybody, Darth Bryboy here. So I'm just chilling, and if you can't tell, I did some major reorganizing in the collection that I probably should have done a long time ago. I'm sorry for the picture quality of this phone, but it is what it is. So I really like how this looks because we got the MCU. Before it was a DC and Marvel thing. I'm sure I got some B-roll of that somewhere. But, all the Batman and Superman stuff was here along with the DCEU, but then that was sacked. So this was probably inevitably going to happen. I mean, I say inevitably, I mean I'm really trying to think of the best way to phrase this. Like, something was going to inevitably be some type of mess on my end when I would do a reorganization like this, because this is a pretty significant reorganization on my end, because I've never had a pure Marvel shelf. And I think ever since I started to collect superhero movies hardcore, and when I mean hardcore, I mean getting more into the MCU, so that was 9 years, probably almost 10 years ago even. So it got to the point where I was like, well, I got all these Marvel movies, and I want to keep them all together. But then I would keep them like scattered. So if you go to previous Blu-ray and DVD update videos around like the 2010s, early 2010s, so 2011, you start to see me kind of shuffle around some stuff. And then obviously, eventually, I cleared out another shelf for superhero stuff. So I was like, okay, that's my second superhero shelf. And then that got full. And then I had to reorganize it again. And then I just got into this really annoying reorganization cycle that seemed never ending, to be frank. I might have to reorganize something here again. Oh my god, I can't get over how bad this phone camera is. This is at 60 FPS, if you're wondering. So, the problem is you do 60 FPS, you lose quality, but 2021 has now been the year of reorganizing shit in an attempt to have my collections together in the way that I like. So I got all my Marvel stuff together, but at the cost of me moving all my DC stuff, most of my DC stuff together, and that kind of being this disorganized mess. So we got the Marvel shelf, which I really like, which is MCU, Spider-Man movies, X-Men movies. So that's how it is. And it's just been the order it's always going to be in. So because of the MCU stuff, we got Hulk. And then we got... Actually, I do have another copy of Hulk that's 4K, but that would kind of ruin this. Of course, it's already kind of a mix-up, so it doesn't really matter too much. So we got... And then Avengers, Homecoming, Far From Home is Blu-ray, or a mixture of Blu-ray plus 4K Ultra HD. We got X-Men, which is DVD, except this has the 4K copy in it, to Blu-ray, and some 4K sprinkled in. So there's that, reorganization out of the way, and then we go to the DC section, which I think I like the mostly DC section, because we pan down here, there's more DC. And if we pan down here, there's some DC kind of shoved in there, which is just Watchmen movies, and a little bit of DC comics in here, which I think you would probably, actually, is there any really, I don't know if there's any DC there. Actually, that's not true, because we got this Superman Lives documentary, which is a DC property, which is based off of a DC property, but doesn't count as a DC movie. And then I moved some of the Marvel animated stuff, and I tried to keep that together to mix results, so I'll have to reorganize that again. And it's not going to be in order, obviously, because who really cares about keeping the Marvel animated stuff in order, except me. And then we move on to DC. And this makes a lot more sense than how it used to. So, we got Burton Schumacher Batman. Maybe this will make sense to have the flashlight on. Nolan trilogy. Joker, which is I know it's not technically a Batman movie, but it is based off of Batman. So I put it with the Batman stuff. And then we got the old Superman series. And then we go to the DCEU, which I finally have all these together. And if you're wondering why only 2 of these are 4K and the rest are Blu-ray, that's because I went through a phase where the Samsung player, which is right there, was being a bitch, but then I got the Sony one. Well, the Samsung one was not displaying my movies in 4K properly, so I had to make some sacrifices for that. So then we have our DC stuff together, and then we have Green Lantern, which I've just had in my collection for years, even though I don't like it. And then V for Vendetta, which I really love. That's one of my favorite movies. And then we have Constantine, which was the big final push for me to just go, fuck it, let's see what happens. So now we see what happens. Almost had a Big Lebowski moment. You see what happens, Larry? You see what happens, Larry? Do you see what happens, Larry? When you fuck a stranger in the ass? I fucking love that movie. It's so fucked up, but it's fucking hilarious. So that's my major reorganization update. Because we started to do a little reorganizing. And I'm still in the midst of reorganizing stuff on a larger level. And then, of course, we have those extra copies of the Avengers movies, which I don't know what I'm going to do with. I think I'm going to keep them there. I might move them there. Great. Now I got another headache of reorganizing, which I've caused myself because I didn't need to do any of this. But I felt like doing it because I like having my stuff in order. And I'm sorry for the horrible camera quality. Next time I do this, I'll make sure to use my DSLR. One of them. Because I got that one. But I love how this looks. This is beautiful. I mean, I never thought I would have all my Marvel stuff together, but, I like it because you have a legacy thing here. And originally, I think I was going to have the X-Men movie here, but I decided to do the MCU movie here, but I might switch them up again, because that's kind of how they were, but this is how it is for now. And I really love how this looks. You have MCU, some of the Spider-Man movies. I know I'm missing Venom here, but Venom is actually down here. I'm going to stop and try to do another reorganizing.